Hello, hello, and welcome to the Meaningful Marketer. This is where we talk about marketing chats, business chats, but we look at how we can make them more meaningful and effective. Simple, meaningful, and effective all in one. And today we're talking about meaningful email marketing because I feel like so often email marketing, even as professional marketers, even as people who are in it every day, it's very hard sometimes to turn off that email marketing is just sales because it is such a direct sales funnel and it is your warm audience. And so I think we've seen over the years, and Grace, you can speak some to this. Like, I think we've seen over the years how email marketing was kind of this fun blog thing. I feel like when maybe it first started, obviously we had, email's been around forever and it was just a way for people to communicate. But I feel like it was almost kind of like when the bloggers and stuff really took advantage of email and everything. And then it was like businesses started using it. And we've kind of gone through this thing, maybe I kind of think over the years where it's like email marketing was a way to connect deeper with your people. And then it's become a lot more about sales.
Yeah.
And now I see everywhere going back to this meaningful way of doing it, of trying to see how people can story tell more in their email marketing and just do more with it rather than just sales. Chances are you may already have an email list or you're thinking about getting an email list. Spoiler alert, if you're not, you should totally be thinking about getting an email list. But if you are someone who's in a different stage and you're not really to this stage, you're still going to learn so many good things about email that's going to help you later. Or if you're someone who's been doing email for a long time and you're like, I feel like I have this down, you're probably good, you might learn some good ideas or just get your creativity going. But if you are someone who's in a different stage, we do have some other email episodes that are going to be coming out. So stay tuned for those and make sure to subscribe so you can peek at those when they come out. But today we're going to be going over simple steps you can do to make your email marketing more meaningful from stuff we've done, from stuff we've enjoyed that we've seen other brands do and we're trying to incorporate. One thing I recommend you do that I didn't put on our list is I recommend keep a folder in your email, your personal email, your business email, wherever you get marketing emails. Even I'm someone these days who I don't like to get a ton of marketing emails because I'm trying to not shop as much. The one, marketing, but I'm trying not to shop as much. It just in the stage we are in our life. But even if you made a special inbox, like a special email for yourself that is just for marketing emails and sign up to some of your favorite brands, have a place where when emails come through that inspire you and you really love and they really made you feel connected, then you can save those to that place.
We're really big on inspiration. Like, we recommend you have an inspiration folder on, your Instagram, like do mood boards on Pinterest, wherever feels organic to you. But it's really important to set yourself up for success in that way. When you see something you like, flag it. Even if you're just screenshotting it, that's going to help you on the days when you are drained of creativity and you're tired of saying the same thing different ways. That's a really quick, easy visual way to re-inspire yourself. So that's a great tip.
Another thing that I do is I like to, like, because you said screenshots, I use Google Keep a lot on my phone and I just have it easy to get to. And you can add pictures on Google Keep. So if you're someone who's like, I don't really want to have a folder in my inbox, but I screenshot inspiration, because that's me. Most of my camera roll, I feel like, is inspiration of just things I see all the time. And so I've been putting those in Google Keep so that way I can easily find them, because then I can label them like email idea and I can easily search them when I want them. I love Google Keep, not sponsored, but you can do voice notes on there, pictures, videos. You can add just about anything. So it's a really good, and you can organize it really easily. So it's a really good tool for inspiration as well. But yeah, so first things first, start collecting inspiration, because there's a lot of brands out there doing it right. And there's a lot of brands out there that you're going to be excited about getting their email. I have my set of brands like that it's not just, oh, what sale are they running? It's I'm genuinely excited about what they are bringing me in this email. And that is the goal, right? And that is not something that you get to overnight. That is something that takes time and effort and just you kind of finding your own groove, because everyone is going to be unique and different, and how your community connects with you is going to be much different than how another community connects with another brand. You might be a brand that your community wants those more just like sales specific emails. You might be a brand though that your community responds a lot better to blog style emails, and you're doing a lot of storytelling, and just you're talking about your community stories or your stories, all of those. So everything's going to be different. One of the things on the list, I actually put it as the last thing, but I'm going to put it as the first when we're talking about it, is start before you're ready, because you can learn on the way. And that's the biggest thing I think that's seeing Grace and I through everything that we've done. I feel like everything good we've ever done, from the time I've, known both of us working together at our past job to now, like everything that we've done has been before we were ready. We've learned along the way. And yeah, is it great when it first starts out? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. But you just, when you first start out with things, I was watching a video and I can't remember exactly what they called this, but you kind of, when you're a beginner, if you let yourself enjoy that stage, there is just this fun hunger of just learning, and every time getting something a little better. It's not going to be good at first. That is the price you pay to start an email list. That's the price you pay to start a social media, to start a business, is that you have to go through the trenches of, it's not going to be good at first, and that's okay. And just know that nobody's stuff is good at first. You should have saw the first time we had like systems set up for clients, because I think that was one of the best things ever for me as I am as a person, is like when we started our business and clients started talking to us, it was like I couldn't sit around and wait for everything to be perfect because the client was waiting on us. So it was like I had to do the best I could do and then learn along the way and learn what the clients, had feedback on that was good, that wasn't good. And now today we have a really like smooth system. We're still learning all the time, but it's the same with email list, with social media, all of that. And if we would have waited around until we were ready, we would have never been ready, obviously. You hear the cheesy saying, but the reason is you can't be ready until you go do. You
Sure.
have to go do, because you don't know what you're going to come up against until you are in it doing it.
Sure.
And that is when you're going to learn, all the different things that are going to make it better. It's also, I think, what's going to open up a lot of creativity for you.
Yeah.
Because you're going to get creative. If you are an entrepreneur, chances are you have a little bit of a problem solving kind of brain in there, and you're going to be getting creative, and you're going to be maybe thinking of new innovative ways to solve a problem.
Yeah.
That, otherwise, if you would just sit around and wait till you're ready and you're like, oh, it's not ready yet, you're not going to see those problems. You're not going to know how to solve them. You're not going to be able to gain feedback. So start before you're ready, because you are going to gain so much feedback and knowledge. And I would even say, if you really own that time, and this is something we're learning because we're trying a lot of new things, like this is a new thing for us.
Sure.
We've never done a podcast or YouTube videos before, and it's been learning how to position ourselves, how to sound. One week I had a mirror in the background. You could see my coffee and my light and everything. Like, it's learning on the way, but I would have never thought, oh, don't have a mirror in the background.
Right.
Until we went and did it, But if you really own it, take your community on the journey with you and use it as something to connect with them deeper.
Here's some advice that I think will apply to everybody, regardless of, how far into this you are, regardless of what kind of industry you work in, regardless of what you think that your community responds the best to. And this is going to feed into all the points they're about to give you guys, but treat your email newsletter like it's snail mail. Okay. Treat your email newsletter like you're handwriting a letter to a friend or a family member, and you're pouring yourself into it. Okay. That might sound cheesy, but I've really found that that's been helpful with all of our email marketing clients. So what you're going to want to do is challenge yourself to think of ways to make your email marketing more personal. Even if you have the objective of selling a product or promoting a launch or any of those like more salesy things, I promise you there's some tips and tricks in here we're going to give you today that you can apply that is going to make your email feel more like a letter from a friend than, just your typical like quick turn and burn marketing email that you're going to maybe it's already in your spam, or maybe it comes to your inbox and you delete it. Okay. So That's the lens I want you to use in all this advice that we're about to give you. You need to be looking at it like it's a personal letter. I think that will allow you to have more fun creating it. And I believe that it will be felt and received better from your audience. We've certainly found that to be true. So we're going to go over a few things today that are going to kind of be in alignment with that. The first one is who your email is from. We have a lot of people all the time ask us, okay, but I'm making these beautiful newsletters already and they're ending up in people's spam. People aren't getting them, people aren't opening them, whatever the case may be, they're not clicking. We have found through our own experience that if you send your email from like your personal name instead of your business name, the likelihood of it being delivered and seen is higher, especially with Gmail. So we still recommend that you send your emails from your business email address. You're not changing anything with that. But there's settings in your email platform where you can change who you're sending the email from. So for example, instead of our emails coming from Make Me Marketing, which is what they were in the beginning, we changed it to From Mia and Grace, and that has really revolutionized our open rates and everything. The deliverability is higher. And it also just adds that personal touch, like I was talking about. If you see an email that's like, oh, it's just from Mia and Grace, it has a different feeling to it than, oh, this is a business email. They're trying to, like, before you even open it, I feel like sometimes you feel like they're trying to sell me something, right? If your email address has sales or anything in it, like that's especially like that flags with people and it flags with Gmail. So that's our first tip for, again, just making it feel a little bit more personal. But we've seen that work really well for us and for clients.
The other part too is adding their name in it, because some of you may not know, because I feel like I've come across some clients and stuff who are like, how does it put people's name in it? You can add a smart field in most email platforms that auto fills in the name. And then if the name is not available, you can choose a word that it will use instead. So it could be friend, babe, whatever you feel fits your brand. But if you just put that little touch, it's going to take no extra work from you at the end of the day once it's done, and you have their name. There is power in someone hearing their name.
Absolutely.
In saying someone's name. And when you're in person, when you're on social media, I've really gotten to where I used to use words a lot like friend and stuff like that. And I've gotten to where I really try to use someone's name. One, it helps me remember their name. Yeah. Because if you're like me, I feel like I used to be so good at remembering names, and now I'm not. I don't really know what happened. But, anyways, so it's going to help me remember their name. And it is also going to make them feel a lot more connected. It's going to mean a lot, especially maybe it's someone who they're used to somebody not wanting to say their name because maybe it's a hard name to pronounce or to spell. And so to see that somebody took the time for that's going to mean a lot. Now, obviously, in email marketing, it's not going to help you remember their name. You're not going to see it, but it is going to make it a lot more personal to them. And it is going to sound a lot more personal to the email platform it's being sent on, which again little things like that, can help with going into spam and all of that. Names are important, so do not forget to use that. That's like one of the easiest things you can do to connect with people deeper is start going with your names on email and beyond. Your name, their name. Those are two big things you can do today that is going to just make things feel so much deeper and more connected in your email marketing and everything else.
And even emails that I receive when they use my name in the subject, even though I know that it's not a personal email from somebody that I know, it's almost like it tricks your brain for a quick second. You're like, oh my gosh, they're talking to me. Like if an email subject line says like, I know I'm struggling with this, Grace, I'm like, how do they know? Before I even click on it. So yeah, I think it's effective and it's a simple thing. No matter what platform you're using, you can definitely integrate that first name field.
Yes.
And yeah, we believe in that strongly.
That catches my eye so much more than most subject lines is when they use my name in it. Like, I'm thinking of if you were trying to sell something, like say there's a new product coming out, like a subject line that's like, Mia, I've been so excited to share this with you. Or Mia, I can't wait for you to see this. Like that feels so much better than look at our new launch. That just feels so much more like I like to say it as like show and tell whenever you're trying to sell things. Like think of being so excited about something you made that you're just excited to share it with your friends. That's just a natural thing you go and do because you're excited about it. And that's what it should feel like when you're selling in your emails and elsewhere. It should feel like show and tell. You're so excited about this thing and you want to show your friends whether they buy it or not, but you want to show them and get them in on the excitement and everything because you're excited about it. Our next thing is send simple emails routinely. I've had a few people do this. This is kind of a new one for me. I've had a few people do this maybe over the past 2 or 3 months. And I really started realizing that every now and then getting a little email that is very simple, there's nothing in it, there's not, pictures, anything in it. It's me, it's again saying my name, and it's from like the owner of the company or something like that. And it's just something quiet, like a small little voice in my inbox, but it speaks volumes and it feels like, I don't know, it's such a nice pairing with all of the more extravagant emails you might send. I think it's nice. Whether that's in, a welcome series and it's a special note from the founder or an order series that you have, or it's just a simple email that you send out as like the owner once a month that's just, here's what's going on in the brand or whatever. And it's just a short little paragraph and a thank you, just something that's very simple because it's going to feel very personal. It's going to feel like somebody took the time, like, oh, I get these other emails from them all the time. So this means so much that they took the time to write me something personal. And you don't have to write it personal every time, but you can make it feel personal. It can still be personal and from the heart, but on an automated flow. So that way you're not, you don't have to send that 5,000 times. But I think it makes people feel special that if it gives that feeling of you took the time and all these other busy things going on and all these other emails to send you something personal. But it also can help with open rates and things like that too, because if there's some reason that your email is getting flagged into promotions because of like emojis or pictures you're using. If you send that simple email, that's going to be with no pictures or anything, that's going to be a lot more likely to end up in their main inbox. And then if they open that, because it's ended up in their main one, the other emails are going to be more likely to show up in there. Or they might even, go and move those emails into oh, I want to hear from them or I don't want to miss something, and so they'll go take some of those and start moving them into their primary folder. Yeah. So that's just another little tip. And I think, it doesn't have to be all the time, but just like something to sprinkle in ever so often.
I think that's a great point because I think people get stuck in this rut of thinking there has to be a sales agenda behind every single newsletter that they send out. Mm-hmm. And I don't really agree with that. Calls to action are important and we're going to hit you over the head with that a lot, but you don't have to have sales be the primary focus of every email that you send. There's ways to sneak in and link your shop and everything without it being like a big flashy subject of like shop our new arrivals and that's the whole content of the whole email. I do agree that those personal letters from the founder, short and sweet and to the point, like already I feel like, oh my gosh, they sat down and took the time to write this. Like, you're seeing kind of the heart there, right? And that makes me more likely to connect with you anyway. And even if I don't shop anything off of this, I'm going to open your next one and see what you have to say. And I think that's a misconception held by a lot of people is that email marketing is just supposed to be salesy all day long. And something that Mia and I really believe in is integrating your social media presence and your email newsletter presence and your website. Like all of these things, we believe adhere to these same kind of content cornerstones. And you have to have a balance of all these different cornerstones in order to market in the most meaningful way, right? So if you feel like your newsletter has been stuck being way too salesy and you're tired of thinking of a new way to say the same old thing, I challenge you to take a step back and it's going to feel weird. But yeah, think about sending an email without any real agenda behind it. Like Mia said, you might be really surprised at how you're able to connect with people that way. And you might see a boost in sales because of it. You never know.
Well, I think too, sometimes what we think, I've struggled with this, and the reason I've struggled with it, and if you're someone, before you started your business, or maybe you're more minded this way in general, but if you're someone who worked for someone else before you started your business, and you worked in marketing or email or whatever, it's always about like the reports you're going to bring that person are going to be what sales were made, right? So I'm very much, sometimes I forget in the marketing world that I live in, because how most people measure success is sales. And that's what I was used to reporting on when I worked under someone in marketing. But success is not always going to look like sales right then. And that was something that I really, tried to get across to many people that I worked with before, is like, say you're running ads and maybe your ads don't have a super high conversion rate. I'm not saying ignore that. But what I am saying is, well, thinking of me as a shopper, and I know other shoppers, they may have seen that ad, and that may have been a piece of the puzzle along their purchasing
Yeah,
journey, but
absolutely.
they did not purchase directly from that. But the effect that you gave is this kind of omnipresent effect of, they're seeing you all over the place, which is very helpful in marketing. The more you see someone, the more you trust them, the more you feel like, this is a buzzy thing that you need to be a part of, all of the things like that. And so email's the same. You
Yeah.
may have sent an email connecting deeper with your community, and you may have not made any sales from that email, but you don't know, maybe a day later, or maybe after that they saw an ad or a Facebook post or something, and that was the thing that they ended up clicking on, but the email had a huge part to do with that. And I think that's what we don't realize. The indirect stuff that just connects with people is so much more powerful. Have you ever, maybe when you were a teenager or whatever, like your parents tell you to do something and you want to do the complete opposite? Not even because you want to do the complete opposite, because as people, we don't like to feel pressured into something. We don't like to feel, we want it to be our idea. We want to be, in control and everything. And so when you base it around connection and all of that, like in your email and stuff, again, you may not see that direct conversion right then, but you are putting people in control. So then it's even more powerful sometimes, I think, because at that point, if they're going to purchase from you, there's nothing going to stop them purchasing from you, because they are going out of their way. They feel that connection, and they are going out of their way to figure out, how do I purchase from you? I saw a social media post that was nothing about what this company that I just got something from was about. And it was a funny thing. They posted like a blooper from their company. I thought it was so funny. I connected with it. I followed them, and they sent emails, they sent texts to me. There was this whole thing. I've seen them on social media, and it took me a few weeks to really be like, okay, I think I'm going to get this. And I ended up getting it. And it wasn't from a post that was selling to me. And, I didn't click on a lot of their original emails
Yeah.
about their discounts and stuff, but I ended up going and purchasing from them. But all of that stuff that they sent me, that I saw, played a part on the journey of me becoming a customer with them. And so you need to think a lot more about that. I think there is this fear because of this ingrained marketing that has just been put in us over the years of, you've got to constantly just like push people, push people. And it is important. You've got to let people know what you have. You've got to let them know you're excited about it. You've got to have calls to action. But that does not need to be every single post or thing that you do or email that you do. And so just keep that in mind as you are, going through your email list. The worst thing that happens, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
And you don't do it again, Like, try it. Try a simple email. Try some of these more connection based things. Okay, they don't work. You can always send another email. Like, it's all about trying and seeing what works for you in your community. So
Yeah.
keep that in mind. Another thing you can do is stop treating email like it's a one-way conversation.
Yes.
We've been doing a lot of talking about this because email has been such a one-way conversation for so long. This has been, I feel like, a recent thing that people are realizing, and it's something that we're incorporating more into our strategies about, is just encourage people to reply. Again, it's going to help with Gmail, all of those things, but you can either encourage them to reply, or you can provide, I saw someone the other day had a button and it said share your thoughts or, let's chat or whatever. And they clicked the button and you could write something in as a response to the person. This is going to be valuable for more than just connecting with your people. It's going to be valuable in your market research. You're going to get so much good information by talking to your people in that way. But obviously, it's going to make your email list feel a lot less like people are being talked at and it's an ongoing conversation. Like it's a real relationship. And that is going to make a huge difference in so many ways. So I'm not saying that, you need to constantly put in people's face, respond, respond. But what I am saying is maybe a lot of the time your call to action in an email is encouraging them to talk and to respond to you. And maybe sometimes that's the biggest call to action when they get to the
Right.
end. Not, it doesn't have to be every time. But, and then over time, building a reputation with your email list amongst your community
Right.
that this is an ongoing conversation and they can respond to it. A lot of companies shy away from this because of customer service based things. But I think if you have the manpower and you can do it, make it an ongoing conversation because that is going to overall help your business and your sales. So, if that means if you're at the level that you can invest in another person in customer
Right.
service to help make that possible, I think that is 100% worth it. And if, you're not there yet, I think if at all possible, try and encourage that and respond to as many as you
Yeah.
can. Set a timer each day and just, try and get through it.
Valuable. It's valuable, encouraging, like letting your audience know that that's okay and encouraging them to do it, I think is just a really cool concept because I don't know about y'all, but a lot of the emails that I get, come from email addresses that say like, do not reply, right? Like, or like at the bottom of the email will be like, do not reply to this email address. And I think, it starts to feel like you start to feel like, okay, nobody's really on the other end of this. Like this is an automated thing. AI sent me this email. They don't care that I have a question or a concern. And so kind of reinforcing that you're a real person behind this email. You took the time to make it. You really care about your audience's feedback and just encouraging them to reply, even if it's just, hey, do you have any like burning questions for me? Or what was your favorite style that dropped last week or anything like that, kind of encouraging this two-way dialogue. Like, hey, by the way, like I'm always here to give you tips and tricks and advice. Like we would love to hear from you. Like make your audience feel special. And yeah, even if it takes you, a couple days to respond to people, in your small business or whatever, I agree, Mia. I think figuring out a way that you can make that possible, even if it's just you're inviting conversation once a month or something. I think that really helps this whole like building connection, two-way street. Hey, by the way, I'm a real person thing that, that's what we encourage again, even in your social media, like, pull your people in your stories and put your face out there. Like you want them to start associating you with your brand and you want them to feel like they can really like reach you and that their voice really matters. I think that, yeah, offering like just a little call to action at the bottom of even if it's one email a month, I think that can make a huge difference in building your community.
Yeah. And even and in your maybe in one of your welcome emails, letting people know from the get-go. Like even I don't know, I'd like even maybe a little cheeky, like, hey, this isn't a one-way combo. We expect if you're on our email list, we expect you to chat with us, like talk with us, have fun with us on here. Like we want to hear you. Like even something like that, I feel like could be so fun. And just honestly treating people like people again. That's a huge thing I've been saying lately is just treat people like human beings. I don't know. I feel like we're so far from that. I feel like I've had such a hard time with that because I'm at home all the time. Everything's so digital now. Like sometimes it really is just treat people like a human being. And I think sometimes we forget how to do that because things are so digital and transactional these days. We forget what it's like to just be humans together and just talk and connect. And
Yeah.
I think that's, what we're all trying to get back to. And I think it's a journey because of what's been ingrained in us over the years of things like, when we went through the pandemic, like all
Right.
of these different things, the digital age, like just all of these things that have made it maybe more awkward feeling to connect with people. And yeah, I think we're kind of like undoing all of that and learning again how to do it, but it's like a bit of a journey, and I think have grace with yourself on that journey, because it's going to take, it takes time. So storytelling is not just for social media. You should 100% be using your email to storytell too. And this is why when people tell me a lot of the time, tell us, me and Grace a lot of the time, like, oh, I just don't know what I would email about.
Yep.
Use some of your social media stuff and, mimic that in your email. Go deeper into it. Hey, did you see this reel I posted today? Here's the story behind the reel. Building on that kind of stuff. But storytelling. I have an email list that I'm a part of that every week now, around every week, I think they're sharing like a story from one of their customers or their clients. No, it's not a story. They're having them ask questions and they're answering the questions in the email.
I've seen that one, yeah.
So they can send in questions, like I could send in a question, and they pick a question a week to answer in email. And it is very storytelling feeling. I don't feel like I'm getting sold to. But what that is doing is it is building the trust. So especially if you're someone who's a coach or you're a service-based business, like something like that, if you have an email list that you're doing that with, you're building trust, you're showing people you know what you're talking about, you're letting people get to know your coaching style or, your style of business. So then they're going to be a lot more likely to go through with that purchase. Again, not directly driving that purchase, but it is influencing the purchase through connection. So how can you storytell? You may be someone, let's rewind for a minute. I'm not telling you, because this is the first thing everyone's going to go to. I'm not telling you to go start blogging in your email, because what's going to happen is you're going to be like, oh, well, I'm just going to start a blog in my email, or I'm going to start a blog. I don't want you to start doing that, because here's what's going to happen. As soon as you label it as a blog, you're going to start feeling very overwhelmed. You're going to feel like you have to document all these things you don't need to document. That's not what I'm talking about. I am talking about a situation, telling a story about a situation you had with a customer, telling a story about something that happened in your business, one little situation that happened in your business, telling a testimonial, giving a personal testimonial,
Yes.
giving a little bit of encouragement. Again, building on some of your social media posts about behind the scenes or something else that you've posted on your social media. Maybe you've posted a tip and you can go into detail, again, point back to that video and then go into detail about a personal testimony from why you have that tip or whatever. You can just use that as a continuation, though. I think a huge thing is a continuation of your social media list. I think so often people feel like they need to come up with one on social media, new ideas every single day. You don't.
Yeah.
But, I also feel like we need to come up with new ideas for Instagram, YouTube, email lists, like all of these different ones. And one of my favorite things to do is, especially, I do this a lot with stories and feed posts, build off of each other, use the same idea and present it in a different way. Use one format to go deeper than the other format. Use one to be more humorous, one to be more heartfelt. And you kind of can get your tone for each of those things. Maybe, for instance, your feed post is something funny, maybe humor is how you get followers or you connect with your audience on there. So say it's funny. Then, you know what? I'm going to give an example real quick of this episode. We could post, if you saw earlier, and if you're watching this live, you saw earlier that we had Jedi over here and I made a joke because I thought it was going to be cute. He was sat down by me and then it was all sprawled out. You can imagine how. And I was asking Grace, like, how does this look in the camera? I can't tell, he looks like Rose on the Titanic sprawled out on the couch, I feel like. And so we could post that blooper, say, on our social media. That would be something funny. People would probably be like, what's going on? We connect with people over humor. Maybe in our stories, then we post a serious clip from this that's giving a tip. Then maybe in our email, we're sending out an email that's talking about a personal story that one of us had doing one of these things.
Yes.
And how it affected a customer or something. That is what I am talking about, where you do not have to come up with a new idea for every single thing. How can you position each thing a little different? It's the same content, the same idea, everything across all three of those, but we are connecting with people in different ways in each of them. And that is, I think, very powerful. And I've seen that be very powerful for people. So Storytell. And that is a great example of how you can start today. What is a social media post you did, and how could you talk about that in a different way, a slightly different way on different platforms like your email?
Well, something to build off of that really quick too is I think a lot of people tend to think of a lot of words. When they think of emails, email marketing, storytelling, all those things, you're thinking, okay, so I have to write like an essay, I have to write a blog, and always going to tell you to use less words. And that's harder for some people than it is for others. For example, most of the time, Mia tends to just use more words to communicate her idea than I do, right? And that's like, it's just personality, right? Like, it's totally fine. But in an email capacity, I know you're thinking that people are going to sit and really read this and you're pouring your heart into it and everything, but just remember, most people are only going to spend 30 seconds, right? So they're skimmers. You need to give their eyes places to land throughout your text. So, let's say that you've written a great paragraph that's the story behind your reel. That's awesome. But instead of just typing it out as a big paragraph chunk, let's break that down into way more little mini paragraphs than you think. And let's put a picture or the actual reel itself or something, in the middle of that. You need to basically give the highlight reel, the Cliff Notes version of everything, because people are just less likely to read thoroughly than you expect that they would be, if that makes sense. So there's still a way to storytell and to communicate your idea without having a 500 word essay where someone's going to open it and then just close it again because they're like, oh, I don't have time for this on my lunch break.
Yes, agreed. I think like you said, I think we would be surprised at how many people skim. I think we would be surprised at how many people, which I feel like is why it's so important to have some interesting stuff like a call to action at the end, who start at the end of something and read upward. I do that. Like, I always, if it's something long, I start at the end and I read a bit back. Like, I read the paragraphs one by one backwards, and then if I find it interesting enough, I'll go to the beginning and I'll be like, okay, I'll read the whole thing. If you can divide it into less words and into a paragraph or different paragraphs, you are going to help capture, I think, numerous different readers, whether they're skimmers, whether they're, somebody who starts at the bottom, like I was talking about how I do. You're going to be able to capture them in different ways. Yeah. And another thing too, if you're having trouble with that, we're all about how to ethically use AI and use it to just help you with your ideas already. And I'm telling you right now, we've just started using AI for more things, but it's like things like somebody sends a really long email and it's like, okay, can you help me take, like, what are the action points I need to take from this email? Because then that saves us. We can read the email, but then instead of having to take a bunch of notes, it's like, okay, we've read the email, we know what's in there, and then this gives us our to-do list from the email. Things like that are a great way. Doing something like you've wrote out this big email and you need to make it shorter. You just need to know how to prompt AI appropriately, which maybe we'll do a whole episode about that sometime, because I do think, like, ethically using AI for your business, it's very valuable. But you do need to know how to prompt, it to get the result you want. And also we want to make sure we teach you how to use it properly and not like in a way that steals people's work and stuff like that. So all of that kind of stuff it can help with, and it's all your own work, your own idea. You can go and separate it into paragraphs. But do you have better things that you could go do? I'm
Right.
sure you do. So why not on things like that just like save yourself some time, because you can do it. You're not stealing anyone's work. Like, let it do it for you. Most of the time when we have something we're sending out, and if I'm writing it, we have a caption, anything, I usually tell Grace to look it over, because she's probably going to look at it and go, oh, you could say this in like a lot less words than what you're saying it. Because it's a lot of words. It's a lot of, like, I don't know. It's just a lot of, I have a really difficult time taking what's in my head and putting it on paper the way it's in my head. And I don't know, anybody else out there deal with that? Like, I wish so badly. It's like, it's so strange. It's like I hear something in my head, but when it comes to putting it on paper, I don't know how to get it out. It's very strange. And so if you deal with that out there, you're not alone. But AI can help with that. Or if you have a friend like Grace who is really good at condensing things, they might be able to help with that too.
But let me also say that your writing style is very conversational, and I think that's a huge asset, because I think a lot of people, it's hard for them to figure out how to write something more personal, right? Like it can feel like just an essay if you're just like have to hit all these points. And the way that you write is exactly like how you speak. And I really like that. Take notes from that, people that the writing thing doesn't, or they're not as fluffy maybe as people. I don't know, but like, yeah, they could definitely take note from how personal your writing style feels.
Well, thank you. I think you hit on something that's really good with marketing and email in general is like there's so many things that each of us maybe even see as like downfalls for ourselves. And sometimes having like a family member or a friend or someone who can be like, "Hey, like seeing the good in that and be like, here's the good you can take out of that. Like yes, you can get better. Like I could get better at like condensing things down, but it's like don't lose the little bit of you in that when you're doing that. Like
For
a
sure.
lot of the time there's going to be things that you don't realize that are good little nuggets to take from it when you're improving. And I think a lot of the time we're so worried as people, especially in this world of business and marketing, and you're always afraid to just do the wrong thing. And I think that, yeah, just knowing that like even the things that maybe you look at as flaws, there's little nuggets in there that are like good things that make you you. And it's like those are things you should focus in on how to just make the meat of it, I guess, better and improve that, but like don't change
Yeah.
completely how you are and how you do things. And I think a lot of people could use that reminder on, because there's so much that people probably try to change just who they are and how they talk, how they write, how they, interact with customers, all of that kind of stuff. So I think that that's really good. But to tie it all up in a little bow, which Grace touched on some earlier, is use your content cornerstones for your email list as well as your social media posting. And if you're new to Content Cornerstones, that is the system that we created to bring a very balanced social media strategy to make sure you're touching all the things you need to. So, from talking about your product to connecting with your people, telling about your story, bringing your people along and making them feel seen, all of those different things. That is, we've divided it up into what has worked for our clients. And this is how we structure their whole social media. However, it is also how you can structure your email list and other areas of your marketing as well. And that is the 4 S's. And so that is share, serve, story, see. And then the other thing that we do is wild card, which is just like that is where you try new things, all of that. And so, you're sharing about your brand, you're serving your people, you're connecting with them, you're talking about your brand story, and you are bringing your people along and you're featuring them and all of that. That's like kind of an overview of that. But if you want to learn more about Content Cornerstones and how to incorporate that into your email list as well as your social media, that we have a whole walkthrough on that in our membership, in our Meaningful Marketer membership. You get a whole mini class for Content Cornerstones, and then you also get access to the Meaningful Social Media class. And that has a whole breakdown of Content Cornerstones, how you use them in a playbook. And the cool thing is, like I said, while the class is a Meaningful Social Media class, what is cool is you can take those content cornerstones from that class and you can apply that same kind of method that we teach you in that class with your playbook and all of that kind of stuff. You can apply that to ads, you can apply that to email marketing, you can apply it to just about anywhere and take those like nuggets from the social media class and use that to kickstart other parts of your marketing as well. But if you do not have some kind of like cornerstones, pillars, something that just gives you structure to how you're marketing, it is so much harder to make sure that you are balancing all of the different things that you need to be covering. And it is going to feel so much more overwhelming when it comes to creating content. Because when we're creating content for clients and everything like that, we have a system. We have a system in place that we have built from these content cornerstones. So we know the type of content that is getting posted on each day. And so it's so much less overwhelming
Yes.
because I don't have to think, oh, on this day, are we talking about like products? Like, what do we need to do on this day? Do we need to do a trend? I know what goes into each day. And so I just know that I have to go find, an idea, inspiration, whatever to fit in what I already know is going to go up that day. And sometimes you can redo the same thing that works a lot. So that is something that we highly recommend that if you're not doing that for your email list, to do that. That's also going to help you if you're unsure of what to send in the month. that is going to help you with that.
Once you start working in that framework too, it's going to become second nature to you, and you're going to like realize right off the bat, like, oh, I haven't really shared anything about in the story category in a while, or I've shared a lot this month, but I haven't really served my audience. What's a way that I could do that? And lucky for you is that I provide email ideas for you guys in the membership every single month without fail, which should help take some of the guesswork out of it anyway. But I've started sorting those into these cornerstone categories. So if you know that you need to, have something in the serve, category, whatever, go check out the list. And there's a bunch of different bullet points in there, just different ideas that you can take or leave and how to incorporate that into your newsletter. You can have a different kind of a goal or a focus for each newsletter. If you're a person who's sending out like a weekly newsletter, let's say, and you kind of want to break each week down into one of those cornerstones, you could do it that way. If you send one monthly newsletter and you want to incorporate a little bit of each into that one newsletter, again, just check out the resources that we've provided for you guys. And you're going to be surprised at, I feel like, how much simpler it is than maybe you're thinking. Because, it
Yes.
be hard to be effective, and that's something that Mia and I believe strongly in and are going to keep repeating, that simplicity can be impactful. So give yourself permission to find a system that really works for you, and before you know it, this is all going to be second nature to you, and you're going to be surprised at how quickly you can churn out a fun, meaningful newsletter for your community.
100%. So hopefully that helps give you some ways right now that you can just go take and run with to make your email list more meaningful. If you want more tools and resources that are in alignment with what we talked about today, and then are going to take some off your plate, that are going to take you that step deeper in this journey, make sure to check out the Meaningful Marketer membership, because that is where we take all the things we're teaching you here and we actually put the tools in your hands, and we give you deeper teachings to teach you how to really implement this. And there's classes with worksheets. We give post templates, ideas, sounds, and you get to watch the recording of these live and ask questions live and see bloopers and all of that kind of fun stuff. So make sure to check that out. It is on our site, or you can shoot us a message, anytime for information about that to see if it's for you. It does have a 2-week free trial, so a little VIP tour, we call it. So you can try it out for 2 weeks, see how you like it. Tune into one of our office hours where we're going over all of the marketing things for the month, and you can ask the stuff live, see how it all feels, if it meets what you need, and then you can decide if it's something that you want to keep on long term for you or for you and your team. We have some people who do that if they're a business and have a team with them. So anyways, let us know if there's any questions that you have, anything we can do to help you. We are over here cheering you on, and we're really excited to see what emails that you come up with. So we'll talk soon.